When it comes to warfare, Alex Garland brings what he learned about sound, especially the brutality of it in Civil War. But unfortunately, what isn't also carried over is any type of connection to the characters, their story, or something that can make you feel like this isn't something like a tech demo like video games do. So to summarize this story, it's 2006. We're following a team of soldiers in Iraq, American soldiers, who intrude and infiltrate someone's home, take it over, and set up surveillance because they know that a battle's about to come with local insurgents, terrorists, who exactly knows. So it's not really gone into. Now, for about a day, they're just waiting for something to happen, and then bullets start flying. When they're trying to leave, IED explodes, and we're left with this team that seemingly is not going to get out alive unless they either get blessed by an angel or make a pact with the devil. So, to review this film, the major plus when it comes to this is that it gives you a taste of the mindset of being a soldier in terms of kind of giving you, as we'll go into when it comes to our defense portion, a hurry up and wait feel. You know something's going to come because of the intel you have, yet you don't know when it's going to come, you don't know how it's going to come, so all you can do is just be on your P's and Q's, dot your I, cross your T's, and just be aware of what's happening at all time. And with that, you know that there's a level of stress involved because essentially you are seen as the terrorist because you're in this country. You're potentially not wanted by most of the locals around because of you deciding to take over people's homes and stuff like that. And with that, there's this discomfort. And then as soon as the sound kicks in and you hear bullets flying, explosion, and everything, you get that rare sense of an action movie that understands that you can present this as a horror if you want to, in terms of creating jump scares for the audience so that they never fully become desensitized to the idea of bullets flying, people getting blown up. They can feel the boom of when an explosion happens or when bullets fly, because a lot of times, like we mentioned with a few others, like Civil War, for example, it can feel like they dampen the sound of what action of bullets, explosions, all that really can sound like. But with this, it's full on, and it's definitely can shake you up a little bit. But the unfortunate part is it sometimes feels necessary to do that. For the hurry up and wait bit that we just mentioned, for at least the first 20 or so minutes of this film, that's what you're doing. You see that they're kind of rushing into position, setting up, and then they're just waiting for something to happen, as are you. And while that happens, unfortunately, the film doesn't compensate, as we'll get into with the next topic, by telling you about who these people are, their mission, stuff like that. Instead, you're just, again, put into that mindset of having to be anxiously waiting for something to happen. And honestly, depending on what type of movie viewer you are, it might be very difficult to get for those first 20 minutes before things start picking up, and you may find yourself checking your watch, checking your phone, just waiting for something to happen, and that jolt of energy, bullets flying, explosion might be the thing that wakes you up if the film doesn't lose you by that point. Which gets to the second issue that some may have with this, and that's just, this is not like a Steven Spielberg type of action movie where you feel really not only integrated in terms of what's happening with bullets flying and explosions, but also feel integrated in terms of knowing who this person is, that person, what's the mission, and stuff like that. When it comes to warfare, yes, at the end of the film, there's a bit of a montage that says this actor played this person. But unfortunately, the main thing that may allow you to feel a connection to anybody is because you recognize, hey, that's the kid from Stranger Things, or that's the dude from Heartstopper, or that's the guy from Reservation Dogs. But as for who they're playing, like getting lost in their character, not just connecting with them potentially because you know or maybe like that actor, warfare doesn't give that to you. These are a bunch of soldiers who, in some ways you can see, if you put a positive spin on it, they represent any soldier story. Someone who's not on some special mission to like take down Osama bin Laden or something like that, but just trying to do their job, protect their country, even if they get painted as a bad guy when it comes to locals. And it just, The genericness of it, you can see the benefit of, but at the same time, if you're someone who's used to war movies, which usually have this hero that you can get behind, it is frustrating that you don't get that same feel when it comes to warfare. But overall, when it comes to this film, I do think it shows that when it comes to action movies, they can turn up the sound when it comes to explosions and bullets flying to really like not have the audience get desensitized to that. But at the same time, because it lacks notable characters, the story is very much forgettable if it even exists. That does take the film down a few notches, and I would even say at times it does kind of remind you that because of how one-sided a lot of these stories are, it feels like it's a very big disservice to the locals who are traumatized by all this, because yes, these are American soldiers, you should be rooting for them, they're protecting your freedom and yada yada yada, but we can't discount the fact that they took over someone's home, turned it into part of a battle scene while they forced them into a bedroom. They leave behind blood and who knows what else on their floor. And these kids are permanently traumatized by something that they have nothing to do with. So, in many ways, warfare is generic in the worst kind of ways. And the only real positive of it is the fact that it turns up the action sounds to the point where you can't just become desensitized to everything you hear because it is booming, especially if you saw it in IMAX like I did.